What's up, everyone? MRW Talking Dating. 2 days ago, I read a very interesting article. The site that I read it on is actually called The Free Northerner, and it's very insightful, a very intellectual take on dating. There is a discussion with they're writing articles about other areas, politics. For me, my interest is dating, and I accidentally came across this website. And this is one of the reasons why I think it's always a good idea to, when you go for a search, to be as open-minded as possible. It's like, it's a lot like when you were in college and you're researching a paper and you have a topic, but just because you have this romantic view of what the paper is going to be like doesn't mean that the information is out there. All right. And even if it is, there's always a good chance that you might have to spend a great deal of time trying to piece together this grand notion of what your topic is all about, and expending a great deal of time. It's not always ideal when you are in a deadline-driven situation. I'm not. At the same time, I don't want to spend all day looking for things either. I just want to get the information, get something close to it, move on, and then maybe come back to it later on or something like that. Once I get a better view of what it is I want to sort of experience. So the website, really good website. Once again, Free Northerner. The article was on a woman who is a columnist for I don't know if it was like CNN or MSNBC, and obviously she's writing about dating, relationships, love, things like that, and she admitted to never ever been on a date, right? To never ever been on a date. She went even farther by saying that she never, she was never really asked out. Now, I saw a picture of the woman. She's decent. I guess she's in her 50s right now, late 40s, early 50s. Very decent. And you can tell about 2 decades ago, there is no way that she walked into a room and wasn't noticed. Just no way, right? So, obviously, this just pretty much means that, and this is in a man's world too, right? And you guys know that when a woman says that, we all know that she means she's not getting approached by the right kind of guy, right? Guys are approaching her, and not always, it's not always direct too. It's when the guy pays you a compliment. It's when the guy flirts. It's when the guy goes out of his way to say or do something without saying, go out with me. Let's go out tonight. Let's go out and have a dinner. So, and this is something that the woman, again, she's writing the article, so I'm assuming that she is very well versed in articulating scenarios like this. So she did not mention that about the numerous guys that maybe flirted with her, and she just didn't want to give them a chance. Didn't mention those. Just pretty much she ruled out most guys. Well, right, she pretty much ruled out the average guy. And basically she's talking about her Prince Charming, right? She never had been asked out by Prince Charming, so therefore she's been unsuccessful in dating. But then again, the guy who read the article, and it doesn't take much of a research analyst to go this far by saying that you never gave the other guys a chance. You basically, and as far as I'm concerned about reading the article, all right, so well, let's keep going, and I'll come back to this. So she did this experiment, her own little experiment, where she went out on 100 dates in 1 year, right? And I think that came out to about like 9 or 10. I don't have a calculator on me. Not gonna do the math right now, but she went on about 9 to 11 dates per month, and at the end of it, she never found Prince Charming, right? 100 dates. I know throughout this experiment, she's talking about the number of restaurants she repeatedly visited, and how that got boring, how at one point she just started wearing the same outfits on these dates, right? Now, stopping right there, nothing. The problem right there is that she never engaged, right? She never fully participated in these dates. I mean, you start wearing the same outfits, and you were likely showing up. Your mind was elsewhere. You were thinking about the next date. You were thinking about the previous date. You're thinking about work the next day. Your mind was other places. So, self-infliction. This is something that I talk about whenever I get asked by a woman as far as like, why is it that so many men are frightened by women who have a career, or why is it that so many women with careers who are very accomplished are single? And I tell them the same thing, that you ultimately you choose one. For a lot of women, for many women, they choose something. You choose your career. And if it's a very, very demanding career, then you choose not to have kids. You choose not to find that special someone, right? It's really asking quite a bit of anyone to, I should say, you really are asking quite a bit of anyone to, how should I put it, to work with your schedule, right? To work with your schedule and to stick it out. There are many options out there, especially if you live in the largest city, right? Especially if you live in a larger city, it's really hard to concentrate on one person who's not that available for whatever reason. You're just asking too much. And then you have some that want that sort of that unconditional understanding and that love, like from the get-go, which is pretty much what we got from our parents. At least some of us got that from our parents. So asking quite a bit from a man just from jump is just unrealistic expectations. But then again, she is thinking about, and this is all coming from a woman's world, right? A woman's world, gimme, how I want, when I want, where I want. And this is not how men are. This is not our world. All right. So it's just difficult for us to understand that it's just difficult for us to understand on how an attractive woman can complain about lack of opportunity. Right. No, maybe not so much a Prince Charming. All right. But hey, it's like that for a lot of people, right? It is like that for a lot of people. I know that she then goes on to talk about how she yearns for an organic connection, right? So just, out of nowhere, you maybe you're out walking down the street, walking your dog, you're in a restaurant, and you bump into someone, right? Casual conversation follows. You find out you have something in common. Let's go out on a date, all right? Let's get to know each other. But ladies, I have to tell you, even that organic connection that you're talking about isn't, well, I say this, it's organic, right? Like a club, going into a club, that's not organic, right? I think everyone is going into that situation with the idea that I'm going to say this, I'm using these lines, I'm wearing this, I'm going to buy her this many drinks. Everything is rehearsed, right? Hence why, a lot of women prior to going out to clubs like this, they're pre-gaming, right? Pre-gaming, right? You're coming up with a game plan, right? If you meet this guy, this type of guy, I'm not gonna go with him. I will go with him. If a guy is harassing me, this is a signal. All that. So nothing about going to a club, or even many bars, is really organic. But outside that, everything is organic. Meeting someone in a mall, organic. Meeting someone in a laundromat, organic. But when you're meeting someone and chances are you're not going to a laundromat in heels and with makeup on, right? So organic. Pretty much, if you're not quite sure what the ideal organic environment would be to meet someone, pretty much any situation where it is I guess it would be taboo to wear makeup and heels. So the laundromat, again, going to the post office, stuff like that. A place that does not require you to put on the fancy threads and the mask will be organic. But here's the thing, even that takes work. That still takes work. A man, and I say this because most of the time the woman is not initiating the dialogue, so it's going to be the man. It's going to be up to the man to know what to say in every single moment. And for a lot of men, it is quite difficult. It is quite difficult to figure out, to have a way of of breaking the ice in all those situations, right? It's difficult. You definitely can't have a line, because even if you try to put a variation on it, like, well, I'm in the laundromat, so I'm going to go ahead and say this, transposing these words around. Then if I'm in the grocery store, then I'm going to take this word out, put that word. I mean, a woman's going to hear some resemblance of that line. She's gonna recognize it. Oh, well, he's just played around with the words, but I've heard that line before, right? So, but ultimately, a man still has to have a direction as far as like what he's gonna say. And me personally, it's really based on, again, where I'm at. It's very, very, very situational. Very situational. Is the woman outgoing? Is she not outgoing? I'm looking at scenarios like that, and there are sometimes where you don't have enough time to really observe her, and before you know it, she's gone, right? Because again, ladies, you want the organic flow. Then a man needs to have this organic conversation with himself as to figure out what he's going to say to you, if you really don't want the line, right? And I do find that there are a lot of women out there who are, when a man is checking them out, they don't always pick up on that. They don't always pick up on the fact that he's trying to find the words, right? He's trying to find the words. Some women have this sort of thing where if a guy waits too long, then he's not confident, right? But at the same time, keep in mind that you got to have empathy, because as women, that you do not, for many, not all, but for many, that, and when I say many, I mean like 99% likely don't have the courage to initiate a conversation with a guy, in places like that. Most just don't. So don't be judgmental. Do not judge. Be patient. Have empathy. All right. And then the woman goes on to talk about what is it? For lack of a better way of saying it, she was very precise with her words, but she found it to be degrading that she had to take the time to she took the time to figure out, on every date, what she was going to wear, what kind of makeup she was going to put on, what she was going to say. There were certain questions that she didn't like being asked, and it's like, hey, welcome to the man's world. And I just wish that, and I wonder, even when I read articles like this, I wonder, like, before you read this, do you just not get a man's point of view on this? I mean, there's a reason why things happen in such a way. And when I say asking a man's point of view, I mean asking a man who has engaged a lot of women, right? I'm not saying a man who has had sex with a lot of women, but a man who has been out with a lot of women, had conversations, dates, whatever. The answers to her questions would get. She would get them. She would get them, right? But anyway, she's going, and then she goes on to say, let me see. Where are my notes? After the whole degrading process, well, you know what? I didn't write it down, but I understand that the dating process is difficult, and especially if you're looking for the love of your life, because what people don't understand is that in 2016, in case you didn't know, this is a whole different culture, right? We're not in the 1960s. The nuclear family, that whole concept is not embraced. It's not embraced at all. People get divorced, like many people get divorced, right? All the time. I don't even know what the average length of time that a marriage is these days. I thought it was like a year and a half. I read that years ago, that it was like a year and a half, something like that. And if you go back several decades, like that number was just like, no. And I don't know, maybe it was 5 years or 10 years, who knows? So that's another thing that many people don't do. And like her, is adjusting their expectations for today's world, and also from what she's been taught too. The love of your life. Studies show that most people are not becoming, but people today are far less monogamous than they were, 40, 50 years ago. Far less monogamous. So there are many people who have been taught by their parents, their grandparents, that find the love of your life, find your husband, find your wife. She's out there, and she's not. Because chances are that potential love of their life, that person has already been taught that monogamy, not a big deal, right? Sleep around, experience. A lot of people experience culture. Focus on your career, academically or professionally. Worry about you, do you, right? And this is how people behave these days, and it's difficult. That does not lend itself to marriage or long-term committed relationships. Impossible, no, but be realistic. Being unrealistic, I think you set yourself up for heartbreak, and that you think that every person you come in contact with has to be the love of your life, and it's unfair to them. It's unfair to you. That no one is being taught like that. No one has been taught to approach dating like that, and if they are, then they are learning the hard way. They learned the hard way. It's the people, and when I say the hard way, it's pretty much the people who started off with wide-eyed aspirations of finding the love of their life early on, and then like many bad dates later, they're bitter, or some of them are not bitter. They're grounded. I think that over a period of time, either you become bitter or you become grounded. And it's unfortunate that when I come across women who are older, in their 30s, on up, that they haven't learned that they're not grounded. They are not grounded. They still talk as if they are, wide-eyed, a teenager or in the early 20s, and they're still holding out, and it's like, well, you're going to lose it at some point. I mean, I think there comes a certain point where you just have to say, you know what, it's not going to happen. It's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. Let me explore other avenues. Let me look at this from a different perspective, and not from how mommy and daddy taught me, or from how my grandparents taught me. Let's look at this from a different perspective in 2016, where people are less monogamous and all about doing them. So anyways, if this feels more like a rant, I try to keep it structured, objective. Let me know what you guys think. Questions, comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time.